What if the most meaningful insights didn't come from clarity, but from the moments when everything feels uncertain? Welcome to Unpolished Wisdom, a space for conversations that are beautifully imperfect, raw, unfinished, and deeply human. I'm Dr. Katrina Gisperte, a medical doctor and executive well-being coach. Through my work, I help people navigate transitions with honesty, courage, and compassion. Today, I sit with Lyn Lee, once known as the rebel in her family, who has navigated life's twists and turns with resilience and purpose to become the first Asian woman to serve as Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at Shell, and who is now an author whose words are inspiring readers across Southeast Asia. Her debut book, Tiny Rice Grains, published by Penguin Random House, reached number 4 on the Straits Times nonfiction bestseller list for its emotional honesty and cultural resonance. But Lyn's story isn't just about neat transformation or reinvention. It's about the messy middle, the part where you realize that the narratives you've been told about who you are don't have to be the ones you keep living. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here, Lyn. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Katrina. And it's really exciting for me to be on this show, to be honest, to talk about the messy middle.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I think it's a topic that not a lot of people talk about. It's nice to talk about the end product, everything when it's already polished, when it's done.
When it's prepared.
Exactly.
Right.
But I think it's far more interesting
Mm.
and much more relevant to talk about who are you in the becoming, right? Because not a lot of people talk about that. But I want to start with my first question, if I may.
Sure.
You've shared with me and in your book about growing up on a farm in Singapore.
Yes, in Singapore.
Yes. I mean,
Can you believe
I
that?
was going to say that, right? Who knew there were farms in Singapore back
In
then?
my time, it shows my age.
Still very young. Youthful. Yes. So what were the narratives about success, belonging, and identity that shaped your early years on that farm?
So success, interestingly, was about my parents pushing each of us. So I have 4 siblings, and it was about each of us being at our best. What I appreciated about that was my parents and my grandparents were there to ensure that we had resources to be at our best. So that was the expectation. I think the environment, though, is very different from what children these days grow up with. So we had a lot of space. We had a lot of freedom to roam. We had opportunities and resources to just be creative because we're bored. Yeah, so to climb trees. I didn't climb trees. Yeah, girls, even then, more so, were not allowed to climb trees. But I had the opportunity to run around, to be free, to feel the wind in my hair, and to just play with dirt, things like this, and to play with my neighbors, and to not have my parents be worried that something would happen to me. So I think that was also success in terms of how we were nurtured, how we were actually nurtured and developed to not fear others, but to embrace other people and to see everyone for who they are. So I think it was actually very liberating. I didn't know then, because I was just a kid, but looking back now, I thought how privileged. So success for me was about those 2 things, expectations, but also then the environment in which I grew up in.
Yeah. And you mentioned in your book, which I've read, it's a wonderful book, congratulations. And in the first part of your book, you stated that your parents took care of the people on the farm,
Yes.
right? Didn't matter what they were doing, if they were the laborers or the workers, but they were treated like family.
Yes.
How did that shape you and where you are now today?
Yeah. So it was a farm. Obviously, there were farm hands. So this was a commercial farm. And my mom and dad hired people from around the neighborhood. So you can imagine that people who work as farm hands obviously are not the most successful when it comes to education. So these were children who may have strayed and joined gangs if they didn't have a job on the farm.
Yeah.
And my mom, because she came from a very poor background herself, had always looked out for the children or families who were poor, people who needed a leg up. So she had an eye for those people. And I think for us, again, because they were treated like the rest of the family. So when my mom went to the wet market, so wet market meaning getting groceries,
Yep.
fresh produce, she would go twice a week, and there will always be treats for us, desserts or breakfast, whatever that is. And there was always food for everybody. There was always something that she would give to the farm hands and the kids. And I call them kids because they were not that old, right? They were teenagers who were working on our farm. And they always had something from mom as well. So for me, that was the most natural thing. You didn't question that there were some of us who had and some of us who didn't have. All of us had. That taught me from very young, again, to not differentiate people in terms of different levels. But having said that, we were also told, and we could see, of course, that we were privileged. Yeah, because we were the ones who were living on the farm playing, and then there were farm hands, people who would be my brother's age, who were working. So obviously there's a difference. But I think what was not different was that we were not told that these are people who are different from you because they're poor. So we're never told that. The only time we were told that they are poor was to remind us of what we have to do or how we should behave because we had more. Yeah. So it's about not looking down on other people.
Yes.
Which is a lesson that I bring today. It's a lesson about not judging people for what they have today and not judging people because they have more or less money, resources, but really judging people for their character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what really matters.
Yes.
It reminds me of a saying that my father used to say to me as well, which is, to whom much is given, much is expected. And that was a reminder for us of our role in supporting others.
Correct. And I think as well as the adults, my parents, my grandparents, they really showed through their example. So they didn't just say it and then you saw something else from them. They role modeled.
Yes.
And to me, then if I look back, it came so naturally for them, at least from a child's eyes. It looked like that was truly what they wanted to do. They were not forced to.
Yes.
And this was something which was part of how they lived their life. So they role modeled seamlessly.
I love that. Role modeled seamlessly. They really lived it in their
Yes.
acts, in their words.
Correct.
Yeah,
They truly believed in it.
Yes, there was coherence
Yes.
in what they were doing. But I have a question for you,
Sure.
Miss Rebel.
Yes. A rebel in a family.
Exactly. So tell me about that part, right? Which is, I know they called you the rebel. We
Yes.
discussed that. But what story were they telling about you, right? When did you first realize that wasn't the full truth of who you are?
Yeah. So if I think back about my childhood, the first few words that come to my mind is that Lyn is the rebel or Lyn is the crybaby in my family.
Okay.
So that's how my siblings still joke when they talk about me as a child. And those are my memories. I have memories of their words. I don't really have memories of what actually happened.
Yes.
So that's interesting, right? Okay, so why the rebel? I was a curious child, and being told not to do something triggered even more questions. So if I were told that you shouldn't touch that, then I probably would touch it. Yeah, don't ask me why. I think that was just me. And as a older child, when I was a teenager. I was still living on the farm. So I lived on the farm till I was 17. So quite substantial. So when it was time for me to go to parties, at that point in time, in our generation was called function. I don't know whether
Yes, yes.
So when it was time to go for the parties and
The functions.
yes, the functions, then my mom would say curfew is 10.
Yeah.
And then I'll go, why 10? Because by the time the actual party starts, it's about 9. So I have to leave at 10. It means I have to leave at 9:30. So I would always ask questions like that. And I think it made it very frustrating.
Yeah.
Or maybe it made it sound like I didn't follow rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was really just wanting to know why. So that's the narrative around being the rebel. And it also coincided with me actually always crying. Yeah, and again, why? I don't know. There's just some kids that cry more, right? So it's one of those. So I think if you look at the person that I was, the child,
Yeah.
and the narrative, it was me always doing things I was not supposed to. Don't touch that, I'll touch, right? Don't do that, why? And then you add that on in terms of my behavior crying, then obviously you have the rebel because my other siblings were not like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does that still live true to you now?
So in terms of the other siblings and me, is that what you mean? Yeah. So as I say that though, my eldest brother was also labeled as naughty. But he's the oldest boy and he was very athletic.
Yeah.
Very good looking kid as well. Still a good looking man. So
Make sure he listens to this.
yeah, I'll let him know that. But he knows anyway. So he was also considered someone who would be a bit more of a rebel.
Yeah.
And then my second brother and my sister before me were all really good kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well behaved, always did what they were told and did more than they were told. And then it was me and then my youngest brother, who is also really even-tempered, very, very cordial and would never be called the rebel. So you have me kind of in the middle, suddenly maybe disturbing the order in the family. Yeah. So to your question, is it still like this now? I think a little bit. Yeah. The only difference is that my mom in her later years and when I was an adult working encouraged me to be different.
Oh.
Yes. So I think that gave me fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. She told me that everyone is smart. And if you're smart, there's someone else smarter. And she said, look for what is different in you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So she pushed me on and she said, dream big. Don't let anything stop you. And I've got your back. So I'm a single parent and she says, I will take care of your kids, but you do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So that was very funny, right? Because when I was a kid, she was trying to tame me down. And then as an adult,
It was go out.
She probably saw that this person cannot be tamed in terms of the passion, the commitment, the curiosity. And she said, just go for it. So I look back and I think it's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah, what you have been told as a child,
Yeah.
if I had been subdued
Yes.
into changing, then I don't have my experience as a kid doing things I'm not supposed to and not allowed to. I wouldn't have had those resources to use this for good.
Yes.
For myself to start with as an adult. Yeah. So I think in all these parts as well, when my mom and dad were telling me, don't do this, don't do that, and punish for being naughty, that they were also observing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that shift that your mom did, that shift in narrative.
Yeah.
That I can see really did shape you.
Yes. Yeah. It really gave me fire.
It gave you that fire. And I think it's a great reminder for all of us who are parents.
Yeah.
For leaders as well.
Yes.
Right? That actually the story we tell others and the story we tell ourselves makes such a huge difference as to how people will show up.
Yes. And I think as well, what we may have mistaken, and it's also in terms of how this whole management leadership journey has taken on. Because in the past, it was much more around management.
Yes.
So you had management books. So there were certain molds in which leaders or managers had to fit in. So if you're a manager, this is how you should be. This is the profile. But what we see now is actually leadership, about people amplifying their strengths rather than to try to work hard at what they don't have.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that is also that shift around what can you use and what can you bring to the table. We all bring different things to the table. So it's not about changing yourself, but it's around optimizing the opportunity, about making things better, that situation, and you optimizing it to make that situation better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And celebrate how you are different.
Yes.
Celebrate your own unique strengths.
Correct.
Because we don't want everybody to be exactly the same.
Yes. So it's really interesting. So I'm thinking about my book, obviously. So that was how it came about as well, that if you look at a bowl of rice, it looks quite homogeneous. But if you actually look at every grain, each grain is different. And then you put all of it together into that bowl of rice, and it is really delicious.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yes.
For us Asians especially.
Of course.
Just that bowl of rice, even with nothing.
Rice is life. We cannot live without rice.
That's right.
But I love the metaphor that you give about the book Tiny Rice Grains that you can see behind Lyn there, which is the metaphor that you give, which is that every single drop, every single grain will create a ripple effect.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how small, but it starts that off.
Correct.
Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So I had planned to write a book after being asked quite a few times in my previous job as I traveled around the world, engaging with staff or engaging publicly. And there was always this question, would you ever write a book? So it came to that point in time where I thought, well, I may, but let me think about what resonates.
Yeah.
And this whole idea around rice kept coming back. And I think it's because of that, just like what I said, that every grain of rice, just like what we've said, every individual brings something different.
Yeah.
But we also bring something common.
Yes.
In terms of goals, purpose, around outcomes that we're trying to drive. And I thought, well, what is the most important thing? If as an Asian, I want to bring an Asian perspective, what is the most important thing for us? And I thought about my childhood, about all the meal times that we had together. And it was required for all of us to have dinner together.
Yep. I love that.
Yes.
My family too.
It was
It's
a
the
must.
same. Yep.
Right? If you do not turn up at the dinner table and you're at home, it feels almost I shouldn't say sinful, but it was wrong.
It was disrespectful too.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Disrespectful. Thank you. That's the word. It would be that you did not care about the family.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it was this whole idea around the family table, having food together, rice as the main staple, and also in the Chinese culture, but probably also in Asia, where you ask after somebody by asking them, have they eaten? Or when you ask, how are you?
Yeah.
Something within that question would be about whether they have eaten
Yes.
or whether they have been nourished.
Yes.
So I thought, wow, that actually represents exactly the work that I did and continue to do around inclusion, around belonging, around respect, being valued, being seen, being heard. Because the dinner table, the rice, the whole reason around getting together is because you talk about your day.
Yes.
And you listen to each other,
Yes.
tell their stories. So that kind of represented for me the type of book that I wanted to write. It was about stories. It's about not just the good stories. is about things that happen.
Yes.
So your so-called lived experience.
Yes.
And also about that group of people supporting you.
Yes.
Who will listen to you, not always give advice, but there will also be advice, encouragement, sometimes telling off, which if appropriate, right?
Yes,
So it's all these things that happen around the table, around RISE, which I thought really kind of summarized the work that I do and the outcomes that I wanted.
During the darker periods of your life, so, you talked about certain events like your father's cancer, you're a single mom, your divorce, the diagnosis of hypomania. What were the narratives you were telling yourself at that time about who you were? Were there voices, were there internal or external voices that made it harder to see a way forward?
Yeah. It was a personal struggle. So that was a difficult period in my life because, as you had said it all happened around the same time. My dad was, to me, diagnosed quite suddenly with stage 3/4 pancreatic cancer. And it's one of those things that's almost like what do you call that?
A death sentence.
A death
Actually,
sentence,
this is very quick with pancreatic cancer.
Correct. So he had come back from a holiday, and that was, and at that point in time as well, my 18-year marriage was very quickly going down the drain. And I always like to highlight 18 years because it's not something that happened quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, and it came to a point in time where a decision had to be made. And I have 2 young children, a global job. So back to your question, what's the narrative? I relied on my parents a lot for my children's needs to be taken care of, especially when I had to travel. So you can imagine that it was really tough at that point in time when I found out about my dad.
Yeah.
My 2 girls, my daughters were very close to him. And I suddenly realized what a loss it would be. But I also realized, so that was the emotional level. I think if you look at the functional day-to-day level, I was thinking, how am I going to cope? How will I be able to do my job and be at my best at work and also be available for my children? And my dad was ill, of course, wondering about my mom.
Yeah.
And about my dad, losing my dad. So there were many things, many narratives. Some you can call were more about immediate needs. If you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy, it literally goes from the basic needs to things that were more selfish around how am I going to have time to indulge in other things. So many levels, and also questioning whether it was the right time to even think about continuing with the divorce in which I had thought about. So difficult time. And I think I'll speak for myself.
Sure.
When you go through such personal struggles at different levels, you also wonder how you come across to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. At work, obviously distracted. But how much can you hide? So obviously, just like with everybody, I was trying to put out a brave front and go to work and try to be as brave as possible. And I shared more about my dad's illness, of course. And I have been lucky. I have been lucky to have very good bosses.
Yeah.
So sharing that my dad was very ill obviously meant that I had some opportunities to spend more time with my dad. But there are all these other things. So you try to maybe hide certain things. I started to rank it by priority around what I can share versus what I cannot.
Yeah.
So my dad's illness, at work, still tried to be at my best, tried to separate my time around personal things, helping the kids. Yeah, all those things, then you try to not say too much, but just get on with the day.
Yeah.
But it's a struggle. I think the emotional toil of the emotional toll of trying to always be available for everybody and trying to put up a brave front.
Yeah.
It tires everyone out,
course,
right?
of
Emotionally, I
course.
think mentally as well. It's very
Of course.
tiring.
Well, the question that's been in my head since you started talking about this was not what can I share, but what should I share? Because, authenticity, vulnerability, all big buzzwords right now. But for me, that begs the question, which is, should it be 100% authenticity all the time?
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
Should it be 100% vulnerability all the time?
Yeah, no. So you are exactly right. What should I share? And I think having to make that decision, and that's why I mentioned prioritizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you shouldn't be out there, everything all hanging anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but having to struggle with personal situations, and it's never just one thing. So, for example, when I shared about my dad's illness, it came with everything that's attached to it: my children, my mom, my dad himself, me, and then work. So, it's the whole package. And I think many times we try to oversimplify it when we think it's fine, I'll just get through it.
Yes.
Yeah, because mental health isn't like this. Yeah, and there are certain things which you cannot share. So I think that's the toll that people have to carry with them.
Yeah. I think it's a great segue to my next question, actually, which is, you've said, and I quote, "The power of what people tell you and who you surround yourself with will make or break you." How did you learn to discern which voices to hold close and which to release?
Yeah, good question. I think we discussed that, before. It was a reflection around how friendships change and evolve, and the different groups of friends that I have and have had. And it really started with just thinking, why am I closer to some people and not to others?
Yeah.
So, for example, there are many friendship groups from primary school, secondary school that I don't hold on to anymore because they don't serve me anymore. There's nothing wrong with anybody, but your life purpose and goals change. And the friendships that you made in the past are no longer important to you and to others, so you move on. So it can be as simple as that. But if you look at sometimes how it becomes very difficult to leave a friend or group of friends that you've known for a long time, and it's a struggle. And there are times when you meet someone for the first time and you connect. You become close friends immediately. Yeah. So it's not about the length of time that you know somebody. Yeah. It is about your purpose and your goals and your values.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that got me to realize that I don't always have to hold on to people that I've known for a long time and feel bad that I'm abandoning a certain group. Yeah. Because I get abandoned too, if you use that word, right? Other people would lose you. And I think it's just that process of really shaping who you are as a person, who you surround yourself with, who are the ones who lift you up. And for those where it's toxic, you let go.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever, maybe let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Have you ever had a meeting, if you've gone out for lunch or dinner with a friend or a group of friends, and you come back feeling like you're totally drained?
Oh, totally. And also because I'm an empath. So I sense other people's emotions and energies very easily.
Yes.
And so, yes, there are some people, I call them energy vampires. Like, they just drain me.
Yes.
Or the topics we talk about is just like, it's not pertinent to me anymore at this time in my life.
Correct.
And no, definitely I've experienced that. There are also people like for you when we first met and we had coffee in
Yes.
Serangoon Gardens, right? I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like we could talk for 2 hours.
Exactly. We could
Like
just
this
keep going on.
podcast that I didn't know was a lot long already, right? So yes,
Yes.
so that's a good reminder. But it's also sensing that, and I think if we're not secure within ourselves, if we haven't done the internal work,
Yes.
we can't decipher that.
Yes. I think if you don't trust what you call your gut feel,
Yes.
what comes from here, your gut, whether it's churning,
Exactly.
or you don't trust what you're feeling in your heart, or sometimes so it's all these physical feelings which I've recently learned around whether you feel that your throat is tightening, your tummy is churning, your heart perhaps is beating faster.
definitely.
So all of this gives you a physical signal whether you are comfortable or not. Yeah, but it was really that there will be some times where I'll go for a meeting and a dinner party or a lunch appointment, and I come back feeling energized. I will come back feeling like that push that my mom gave me, that firepower. Then there are times where I'll come back, and it could be a simple lunch, and I'll feel like I need a break.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, totally.
Yeah, the energy vampires, right?
Oh, totally.
So this would be my advice for people who are listening in to say, trust what you are feeling and take a moment to ask yourself, what's that all about?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Don't let it go.
Oh, yes. Yes. And for me, to be honest, when sometimes my gut, my intuition, and what my head cognitively is telling me isn't the same.
That is always our
Yes,
challenge.
exactly. And I'm so used to, being a brain on a stick.
Yes.
Right. But the realization for me is that actually my body somatically holds so much wisdom,
Yes.
but we don't
Yes.
recognize it.
So it's the combination, it's the integration.
Yes.
It is really trying to understand what your brain is telling you and also trying to synchronize to say, is my body feeling the same?
Yeah.
And if you feel that it's not, that's a good time to pause. Don't keep pushing on and driving through and say, I'll get through this. There are certain things in which you just want to push through.
Yeah.
But there are certain things, if you wake up every day feeling like you can't, which is that period that I went through, then I did take a pause, and I think to the listeners as well, then take a pause, maybe get with trusted people, trusted friends, the people around you that you can really trust, and to ask, what's this all about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it will definitely help.
Oh, for sure. I want to go back to the work that you do and you did with Shell in DEI. How did your narrative, your story shape you to start your work and be a champion globally
Yes.
for DEI? Because it wasn't what you originally thought you would do.
No, I thought I was going to be a lawyer.
Yes. So it's lawyer, DEI. So yeah, tell me about that. What was the narrative you told yourself?
Yeah. Well, I have told this many times already, so I think it's not a surprise that I actually didn't want to be the global chief for DEI. I had to be asked a few times, and I had to convince myself.
So what was the hesitation?
I didn't feel like that was a job I could do. You know how sometimes people can see the strengths in you and you don't think that you are up for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that. But there was another reason, because I was really enjoying the job that I was doing then. So I was the global VP for business operations, had a great team. And it was a very exciting moment in time in that group where we were hiring aggressively in many locations around the world. So I was really enjoying myself in that job. And to be asked whether I should do another job, a job that I had never thought of, felt very unnecessary. I wouldn't even say uncomfortable, because it didn't even occur to me that I should do that job. So I think back to your question, how did I end up being a champion?
Yeah.
A lot of self-reflection. So as I said, it took a couple of times of convincing from senior leaders to say, think about this. And I was really very unwilling. So I spoke to some of my direct reports. Again, the circle of people whom I trusted. And these are people who reported to me. But I had very good relationships with, still have. They're all friends now. We had a very good working relationship. So it wasn't boss-subordinate, but it was really just different people doing different things, making the organization better. So I reached out to some of them and I said, this is the job that has been offered to me. I don't feel like this is what I want to do. What do you think? And actually, all of them had this huge vision of who I would become.
Oh, wow. They did, but you didn't.
I didn't consider, I didn't think
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
So to be honest, and again to the listeners, to the ones who spoke to me and visioned with me, they said this, they said you would be great and you would be a voice not just for Shell, but globally for people who need to hear what you have to say and what the company has to do. And they said, I think you'll be great. And it was so funny when they said that I could feel my body reacting to say no. I didn't want to be great in that area. It's really funny.
Yeah.
So that was it. I heard from them. Still, the head and the heart didn't connect, as we had spoken about. And then I had that moment where I thought, well, if I say no again, then maybe it's time to look for another job outside of Shell. It was that type of reality, right? That you have to balance it to say, why do people ask me to do and I don't feel it?
Yeah.
Then I thought, if I say yes, then on what terms? I always have to do things on my own terms. And that's the rebel in me, right? Has to be my terms. Otherwise, I'll struggle. So I thought hard and I thought, well, I need to bring my voice and it has to be my Asian authentic voice. That the difference I can bring to this job would be if I bring my Asian perspective. Yeah, and it's not to push people into it, but to really look at this, my lived experience, the way I was brought up, the role modeling that I had, the friendships that I created, and to ask myself what was core. The core was the dinner table. The core was expecting everyone to turn up at the dinner table, and it was the conversations, it's the support, but sometimes also the tough messages, the tough love. So it's all of that. So I thought, well, if I have to do the job, I want to do it that way. And I want to do the job where I could also share my lived experience, not with everything hanging out, but the experience that would help others to feel like they have a voice. Because not everyone has an equal voice. So I wanted to use the job and the platform and the visibility to say, let me then be that voice, which means that I have to be choiceful about the stories, but to give the chance to amplify the opportunities for people to share their lived experience. So that was how I turned around and thought, let me do it this way. And then again, just like with my mom giving me the fire, I think I ignited something in myself and there was no stopping me after
Well,
that.
still no stopping you.
No.
Yep, still no stopping you. And you have daughters, right? You have two daughters.
Yes, I have two daughters.
Adults.
Adults. Yes.
So looking at your daughters now, what is it that you hope they understand about the importance of authoring their own narratives, their own stories, especially as young women, all of us learning to navigate our messy middles?
Yeah. I don't think they have any question or doubts around authoring their own lives. Yeah, none at all. And I say that confidently because fortunately or unfortunately, they had to be put in that position when they were very young to make decisions for themselves when mom wasn't around. I have to say sorry to them because many times I forgot that they had exams and I was traveling somewhere else. Not very typical Singaporean mother. Yeah, so I had done that and sometimes I wasn't around and they had to make decisions about whether they can go for an excursion and those types of things. So they would have me on the other side of the line telling me what they have to decide on or what the teachers have said. And it was those virtual conversations. So I think firstly, they have to be quite clear around what they needed. And they had to be strong to sometimes make decisions when mom wasn't around. I think they also ended up with a lot of lived experience, struggles, personal struggles. And that's what I mean by unfortunately, right? Because they would see other kids, including their cousins, go back home to mom and dad. Many times, mom, stay-at-home mom, who was there ferrying them around, and then they had nobody to say it like that. Yeah, I mean, not, and I don't mean personal struggles as in terms of they had nobody, but their closest person that had passed on. Yeah, mom, up to a certain point in time, had passed on as well. So they had to many times pick themselves up emotionally. So they had a lot of lived experience, personal struggles at a very young age. But now this has become their opportunity and their strength. So my older daughter has turned out, Clarissa, if you're listening, she has turned out to be version 2.0 of Lyn.
Oh,
In
wow.
every single way. So she is going to start her master's in organization psychology. She has found herself getting into mental health first aid. She started in clinical psychology, but now going to organization psychology.
Like
and
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to watch that it's most likely, again, the role modeling, what they see mom do, what I stand for, that they watch, and some of the things that they want to amplify. And my younger daughter, Val, is in the UK. She lives in London, and she's very independent. So obviously, this is about her using all of the resources that she had developed as a child. She has to make decisions on her own. She has been living in London since she started university there. And I trust them 100%. I don't have a doubt that they know how to manage their lives. And I'm really proud of them. So I think in the same way that I observe the adults around me who are role modeling, they were silently and quietly observing what I was doing.
Oh, always.
Yeah.
Always.
And they're my worst critic as well.
Oh, of course. They know. They know us better than we know
Yes,
ourselves.
yes.
Right? Because they've been watching us since they were little, since babies,
Correct.
right? So yeah. So one of my final questions for you is about the stories we tell ourselves, right? They can be limiting, they can also be liberating. What's an old narrative that's still stuck with you that you're still in the process, perhaps, of letting go? Is there one?
Of course. It will be impossible for me to say no. Two narratives, actually. The first one is that she's naughty and a crybaby. I can't let that go.
Oh.
No, I think because, again, it's the head and heart. I don't know what that means. So as an adult, I'm still figuring out, is that good or bad? Yeah, I don't know. I think I can't let that go, probably just thinking that, wow, what was that all about? Yeah, I think the second one probably is related. For all the visibility that we have spent our time on this podcast talking about in terms of my work and what I'm championing and the book that I've written and all that, I still find it really hard to let go of this narrative around I'm not seen.
Wow.
How interesting, right?
So let me clarify. You're very visible,
Yes.
right? You've authored a book. You do a lot of speaking engagements. You're asked to be on the Straits Times. You've
Yes.
written articles. You're published. So what is it that is not being seen?
Yeah, and let me clarify. So it's not about a chip on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And the work that I'm doing is not to validate me not being seen.
no.
I think it's much more around the narrative to say, with all these things that I'm doing and talking about, how much value am I creating? So it's always this nagging feeling. So it can be good or bad, I think. If I bring it to the extreme, this can be something that will not serve me. Yeah. But if it's a question that is almost like the fire in my belly, or, that rocket ship that will propel me, then I guess it is a good question. Yeah. That narrative doesn't always have to be bad. The question around what value am I bringing? Is this what this is all about? Is that visibility to write? Does it serve me or does it serve others? I would really like for this to be serving others. And through that, then it serves me. Yeah, I'd rather it be that way, right? None of this should just be to serve me. That would be a waste of resources.
I hear that. And I do feel with your book and the work that you're doing, you are setting such a great example for others to see the way forward. Because I think that's a little bit of where people are stuck.
Yeah.
It's, I get it, I get DEI, I get what I'm supposed to do, but if I can't make the big shifts, if I can't change the world, why should I even bother?
Exactly. It doesn't feel like that small ripple is important.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's, again, that very important reminder to say it's actually the small ripples that creates the impact, because you have to think about all the small ripples together. The integration. It's not about one big person making a big splash. There will be those as well, but there's so few of those people around making that big splash.
Oh, yes.
We need the ripples.
Yes. And eventually, the splashes and the ripples will create the tsunami of change that you want to create.
Exactly.
Love that. And I want to ask you the final question that I ask all of my guests, okay?
Okay.
How would you hold space for your past self now, knowing what you know?
I think to baby Lyn, I would say it's okay to cry. Yeah, we've got you. You'll be fine.
I love that. Thank you, Lyn.
You're
I had
welcome.
so much fun.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's right. We
Thank
could
you
go
for
on
being
forever.
here. Yes, maybe a second podcast.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If this episode resonated, please follow the show and share it with a friend who might need it today. This is Unpolished Wisdom. Until next time.